Welcome, Rafael, to Infosys Energy Studio in Houston. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
I know you do a lot of great stuff at PTC. I would love to hear what all you do.
Sure. I'm part of our digital transformation practice, and essentially what we do is we help our customers develop digital transformation strategies, and we take an approach where we help identify what kind of challenges our customers are dealing with, and we try to map it to a use case and technology. And so our group is comprised of former consultants. We have folks that have deep domain knowledge and industry expertise. What we try to do is ensure that our solutions are relevant and are solving problems and adding value. I'm excited to have this chat with you. I'm curious, with your deep domain knowledge and your experience and your interactions with oil and gas customers, what are you hearing? I mean, what's the state of the industry right now?
See, that's a very good question. We look at oil and gas industry from the technology standpoint because at the end of it, we are a technology services company. We create solutions for our client to leveraging technology to solve business problems. If you look at, there are 2-3 key distinct changes or I would say the environment ecosystem that's, playing out in the oil and gas industry. One big change that is happening is the energy transition, which is, sweeping the world literally, in different forms, different part of the world, different countries are reacting to it differently, but that is one big change happening. Second thing, IT/OT convergence was happening, which was making obviously safety and the security of all the assets that our clients operate are of very high value, and leveraging technology to make sure the operation runs very smoothly is the paramount, right? And continue to produce. So IT/OT integration was forcing things and it continues to force them to work completely different way than what they did few years back. COVID on top of that accelerated that whole transformation for multiple reasons, right? COVID, made ensure that people work remotely. They couldn't meet. Still, these assets had to be operated. Now, how do you leverage these technologies, and especially most of the assets that our clients have that they operate are not in the nicest place, not easy, and stable connectivity. So how do you operate some of those assets? So those are the three, I would say, in 3 key buckets that changes are happening. Energy transition is impacting a big way on prioritizing the business and also diverting, the technology solutions in specific area. Second one is the whole IT/OT Industry 4.0 that is blurring the line between IT and OT, which will helping our clients maximize the value from the technology investment that they made. And third is the acceleration of the technology adoption in every aspect of the work they did, both on the enterprise side and on the field side, to make sure they continue to safely run their environment.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. One area that we're seeing that's getting a lot of traction and attention is around this aging workforce, right? And we've been hearing that, around the oil and gas industry that this was going to be, this exodus of all this talent. How do you capture it with years of collective knowledge? And what we're seeing and a solution that we have at PTC is really around augmented reality, right? Is how do you codify that knowledge? How do you capture those procedures where you have a field crew that needs to go out and repair a piece of equipment? How do you make sure and ensure that as you bring on new technicians, that knowledge then gets transferred over rapidly, right? Is that time to proficiency? That's one area, but the other one I think is also just as interesting is around this multi-skilled worker. I think in our view is that those days of a single skilled worker is going away, right? I think a lot of these oil and gas companies are now investing, or what their expectation is that these field crews are going to have knowledge around electrical, around mechanical, even a lot of around, you know, the petroleum engineering aspect of it. You know, how do you make sure that you have the right pumps, the placement of the pumps in the wellbore? A lot of that knowledge, I think, is interesting, and augmented reality helps with that. So there's some exciting times. I know that as I walked in here, this is a beautiful place. Can you tell me a little bit more about your energy studio here?
Oh, that's you know, this is a beautiful studio. Not just beautiful, but you know, you talked about the solution, right? For us to solve the complex problems that our clients are faced with, we realize that in order for us to solve some of these problems, it is very important that we bring three things together. People with the right skill set, and when I say right skill set, right is skill set across technologies.
You're talking about your people, right? Or you're talking about the customer, from the customer side?
It's customer, it's Infosys, it's partners like PTC and other partners. So it's complete ecosystem, because you need to bring all those skills together, because the problems that we are solving are complex and you know, has a very high impact both on the top line productivity and the safety. So people was very important. People is very important. The second part is, you know, the ecosystem that I talked about. You know, we wanted to create a place where all our partners, including PTC, can, you know, bring in their best innovative ideas. We can experiment. Client can experiment it. We can create the solutions that is usable in the field, and then rapidly deploy those solutions into, you know, all the assets and environment that client is operating in. And that is why we created this here in Houston. We have created this in London, and then few other labs that we have in different part of the world as well. One of the things that we want to ensure is, while we are solving some of these problems, it is very important that we are able to experiment, create something new
in a low-risk environment.
In the low-risk environment, but at the same time simulate close to the real world. And if we have to fail, we fail fast and immediately learn from it and create the next solution that works. And that is the whole concept of creating the studio. If you look at traditionally how we have solved problem is, Infosys will have its own skills and experiences and the problem solving approach. PTC will have its own, you know, other partner will have and client will engage multiple parties to solve, but every group will be trying to solve the problem in isolation. What used to happen is, these complex problem will get solved into pieces, and we will still have the gap. So the whole end-to-end solution, which is the speed to value, was not, you know, not there, or in order to achieve the outcome, it took too much time, and still there were gaps. We are trying to not only create the solution, but also bridge that gap in collaboration, because collaboration is the name of the game. You know, when you multiply, if you want to multiply the outcome, the collaboration has to be there. So this is a complete collaborative environment that we have created, where we all can collaborate and create something which is not 2 + 2 4, but 2 + 2 6.
Yeah, you mentioned a few interesting things which really resonated with me, and for you, and just for us too. You know, our mantra is, how do we help you solve a problem, right? And so the group that as I did in my introduction, what we're chartered to do is help our customers identify the problem and solve the problem. And we'll do it via workshops. We'll do it via these assessments. But we come in agnostic, right? And that's where the value of our partnership is that we may be brainstorming, we do design thinking sessions, and we may come up with a problem or identify a problem that we may not have that solution. But then we have a partner like you guys that could say that, then we'll recommend and say, you guys, it's a very, very specific analytics, it's a very specific integration. go and talk to Infosys about this because they have the expertise in this area. So, you talk about, the 2+2, that analogy, and I think it's so indicative of how our partnership is, right? Because I think we make each other stronger on that. So, it's interesting, I think software companies, and it's just not PTCs, we're seeing this migration away from, and I started my career, many years ago where it was feature functionality, right? That's what it was. It was total cost of ownership. You had your RFP, you bid, it was all pricing, right? It's changing, right? Today, when you design software, when you commercialize software, it's all about how do you achieve value? And then the other thing that you also said is that timed value, right? Do you have to do a lot of customization to it? Are there things that are just off the shelf that minimizes a lot of the customization, right? And so we're seeing a lot of that software business kind of transforming itself, right, to being more of a value-based or outcome-based businesses.
Oh no, thank you very much. That's great to know, and we believe that some of your technology solution, Infosys domain understanding, and our client willing to work with us to solve the complex problem. I think we are at the right place here in the energy studio. So thank you.
I agree
thank you
with
for your time.
No, thank you for having me. This was great. I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.